My name's James Millar and this is the Tintype Studio. Tintype photography was invented in 1848 and it's a process which involves coating a sheet of aluminium or a piece of glass with a substance called collodion. That's then immersed in a silver nitrate bath and then the picture is made in camera and then developed in the darkroom. It's called the wet plate collodion process because the whole process is done while the plate is still wet. And it's a process which renders incredibly fine detail because there's no grain at all, like there is on a film. It only registers a certain part of the visual spectrum, and that tends to be the blue and ultraviolet end of the spectrum. So pictures take on quite a otherworldly kind of feel about them. Because they see the ultraviolet end, they actually are kind of looking underneath the skin of the sitter, if you like. It's a beautiful process which has captured my imagination. This process is possibly one of the hardest photographic processes you can do. There are a variety of factors which affect this process, one of them being temperature. I've been shooting in minus degrees up in Scotland on location, and then you've got a long time. Once the plate's dried out, it's no longer usable. When it's hot, it's 25 degrees or so, everything speeds up. So then you've got to work quickly, you've got to work fast. So once you've made the plate up in the darkroom, getting it into the camera, taking the picture and getting it back into the darkroom to develop, you have to do that quickly, you're on the clock. Everything has to be done properly. The tiniest bit in the whole process will ruin the photographs. But it's an immensely satisfying process because when you get it right, they are stunning, really beautiful things. Behind me is Hilda. She is an old Kodak camera. She's about 170 years old. We think she was born in India, in Calcutta. She is a 12 by 16 inch view camera with a ground glass screen. And I've got a 350mm brass lens. And yeah, she's old and cantankerous, which is why I named her Hilda after my grandmother. She's probably possibly my favourite possession in the world, so yeah. The reason I wanted to set the studio up is I've been doing pop-ups in London for a number of years and I've taken the operation on location a fair bit. Taking it out onto pop-ups does come with a certain level of anxiety and stress because you have to make sure you've remembered everything. And I wanted a space in which I could work and create and people could come to me and they'd know I could get a certain result and can control as many of the elements as I can, which is one of the key things in this process. So this is a really great space for me to which I found over the last year or so, just to be able to kind of hone my craft. Well, this studio space was an old cattle barn. Various animals have been kept in here over the years. And I took it over from our landlord here and it was just a shell. Between the two of us, we've stripped the walls back, painted it, built this mezzanine level behind us and kitted it out with all the studio and lighting gear and everything. And it's been a great project, really fun. It's kind of like a photographer's dream. And the nice thing about this space is I built it primarily with tintypes in mind. So behind me, we've got a darkroom and then we've got a dressing room, we've got the studio space, which is where I'm sitting now. So it's bespoke for this process. And there's not many studios, I don't think, around in the UK, if the world, which is actually built around just this process.